Hey, what's going on? Sorry, got a bit of a cold right now. So, as I've officially titled this broadcast, I call this Right in the Childhood. Uh, I just recently discovered they did a re-release of RealMyst, which in and of itself was a re-release of the original Myst with a bunch of added content, specifically a bunch of stuff after you complete the game. And um, the original version of RealMyst wouldn't work on most computers. It would work kind of on my computer right now, but there was no videos. So when you're looking at the books and you're getting you don't see the flybys or anything like that. It was really choppy in certain areas. It would crash on a constant basis. So Cyan Worlds re-released the game running on the Unity engine, which is the same engine that the Elder Scrolls series was built on. So, uh, updated graphics. It still keeps true to it. They changed a few minor things around from what I saw, but nothing really major. So, I actually have yet to play through completely. I've only done a little bit of it, so this will be an experience for me too. I love how they updated. I love how they updated the original intro. Gotta remember getting this game in '95, I think, when I was a kid, and I was hooked.
I realized the moment I fell into the fissure that the book would not be destroyed as I had planned. It continued falling into that starry expanse of which I had only a fleeting glimpse. I've tried to speculate where it might have landed, but I must admit that such conjecture is futile. Still, questions about whose hands might one day hold my Myst book are unsettling to me. I know my apprehensions might never be allayed, and so I close, realizing that perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
It's been years, and I still remember that monologue word for word. Um, a little bit of a note is the Miller brothers actually wrote a series of books based off of Myst. The first book being the Book of Atris, and the epilogue, the last paragraph of the page, is that monologue because it ends. It's a prequel to Myst. So we're gonna link in here. So one of the cool parts is there's two modes. There's a classic Myst, which is still a screenshot by screenshot, but you have the full three-dimensional looking like in Exile, and but when you transition, it's an actual movement. So I really enjoyed that aspect, but I kind of like the free roam mode a little bit. The controls are a little wonky. When you're stationary, you have to hold the right mouse button to look around, but when you're moving, you just move the mouse. So it takes a little bit getting used to, but I like that free roam mode. You do have a flashlight in this game. They added a bunch of hints, which I don't really understand why, but so here we are on the dock. So we're just going to go ahead and do a preliminary look around. And we have the first marker switch. And you actually have to it's a little bit different in this one. You actually have to manually move it up. So we're going to come up here, and there's another marker switch here at the giant gear. We're going to throw that. So as you can see, they really really redid a lot of the look. They added a lot of plants and whatnot, which weren't in the original version, even of RealMyst. There was a lot of grass, but there wasn't a lot of the little bushes and rocks and everything. So they really put a lot of detail into it. I left you a message of the utmost importance in our fore chamber beside the dock. Enter the number of marker switches on the island in the imager to retrieve the message. So we're gonna throw this switch, and we see the tower there. We'll be coming to that later. I'm going to basically be doing this as a full playthrough like I've never played it before, so I'm going to do every little thing. Even though I know most of the solutions to the puzzles and whatnot, I want to get the full experience of this. So, this isn't going to be like a speed run or anything like that. So, I'm going to throw that switch. And we come down here. Now, this was one thing that was added in RealMyst that was not in the original Myst. If you go over here, there's a marker that says Tiana. Now, if you read the books, Tiana is the Dunny name of Anna, Atris's grandmother, who lived on this island after the events of the Book of Atris, and she ended up passing away. So she's buried on this island. So that was not in the original game, but that was added in RealMyst. All right, you need to get off me. All right, so we've gotten the butterflies, which were in the original game, but you could only see them if you went here. You had to look up this way, and you could see the butterflies. So we've gotten all the marker switches that we can get to, except for that last one, which we don't really need that one until later on. So let's go into the Ford chamber and check what Atris's message says. Game's still a little choppy in parts, but it doesn't crash nearly as much as it did. So we have 3 settings here. We have the topographical extrusion test, the marker switch diagram, and the water turbulent pool. So we obviously have the water turbulent pool, so let's check the marker switch diagram. And there's what the marker switch looks like. Now, one thing that I just now noticed here that was not in the original is kind of a hint. If you notice there's a cavity in it, that will actually come to play later on. I'm not going to reveal too much, but and now we'll do the topographical extrusion test. Alright, so there's all that. So now we're going to go ahead and play Atris's message. Yeah, there's no real reason to speedrun this. It's kind of stupid.
Catherine, my love, I have to leave quickly. Something terrible has happened. It's hard for me to believe. Most of my books have been destroyed. Catherine is one of our sons. I suspect agony, but I shouldn't leap to conclusions. I'll find him and Cirrus as well. Oh, I should have known better than to have left my library unchecked for so long. Well, I've removed the remaining undamaged books from the library and placed them in their places of protection. You shouldn't have to use the books until I return, but if you've forgotten the access keys, remember the tower rotation. Oh, and don't worry, Catherine. Everything will be fine. I'll see you shortly. Oh, and erase this message after you've viewed it, just to be safe.
Alright, so we know now that there are 4 books, or there are a couple, at least, undamaged books that are hidden around the island. Most of his books have been burned, so now we'll go ahead and check the library. And we now know that that tower hole is a major point. So one major change that I noticed here is this: the journal to the Rime age. Now that in the RealMyst, Rime was an age that was added in RealMyst that you had access to after you completed the game. It was basically an Easter egg. Now, normally you don't see this journal until after you complete the game, but the one change in here is you have access to the Rime journal off on the bat, right off the bat, and you have part of the code to get it. There's two codes that you need, but I noticed there's one code missing. So you have access to where you can put in the code, but you don't have access to the age just yet. So we have the different journals. We have the Channelwood. I've called this age Channelwood, and it is a very different world, though not exactly how I imagined it. It is still amazing to see with my own eyes. Water covers the age as far as I could see, except for a small rocky island. Elsewhere, there are only trees which grow directly out of the water. A myriad of thin wooden passageways are built just above the water and disappear into the forest. I can assume that they were built some time ago, for they appear aged. I am eager to discover more about this land and its people, but I have arrived here late and I must rest. I was awakened this morning by strange noise coming from a pathway adjacent to the one in which I had slept. I saw a group of monkey-like people heading in my direction. They had not seen me, and I did not feel threatened by their presence. The response to me was one that I would never expected. After staring at me for a short time, they fell to their knees and began what appeared to be some sort of ceremonial worship. I tried to speak to them, but they did not understand my language. Instead, they indicated through enthusiastic hand motions that I was to follow them. As we walked, I began to notice how the waters below us were changing colors. Slowly and subtly, they changed from deep blue to muddy orange, then muddy orange to beautifully clear. I was so intrigued by the water, I hardly noticed that we arrived at a ladder. Climbing the ladder led us to their village, which is about 10 meters above the water and can only be reached by rope ladders that stretch from the lower pass to the village level approximately halfway up the grand trees. This is very interesting watching these people carry out their daily tasks. Even after watching them for hours, I did not understand exactly what they were doing. At sunset, they motioned for me to follow them. I followed the creatures to the doorway of an enormous hut. Strangely, once inside, I found the hut appeared even larger than it was from the outside. The walls were garnished with bright metals. In the center of the hut sat the leader of these people. At least he appeared to be the leader, for he sat a meter off the floor in a thick throne, guards surrounding the strong creature who was dressed in many exotic colorful fabrics. Next to the leader sat a very old human. At least to some extent he appeared human. His hair, which was only on his face and head, were completely gray, almost white, and he hung very long from his frail body. His thin head hung limply by an almost grotesque neck that could not hold his head up to look at me. But what a surprise, the creature could speak my language. Shortly thereafter, I was given a bed with some hand motions that looked to be telling me to go to sleep. I looked forward to learning more. As I suspected, the ancient creature is a human, but he is old beyond his own reckoning and seems almost insane. However, the tree dwellers almost revere him as a god. They are treating me now in the same fashion, which makes me feel very uncomfortable. It is almost impossible to understand this old man. His voice is feeble but wild. He has adopted much of the language of the tree dwellers. He himself told me that he had not spoken our own tongue in ages. He attempted to explain the history of this place. The following is my best translation of what he told me. Many years ago, the humans and tree dwellers lived together in this place, which was a vast island. They interacted very little. The humans dwelt on the ground, and the tree dwellers lived high above the humans. Occasionally, the island was disturbed by mysterious rumblings, which happened randomly. Some sort of tectonic or volcanic action, I suspect. The sometimes slight, sometimes heavy tremors would only last a while, and then they would stop, allowing everything to return to normal. One day, things changed. The rumbling began and grew quickly to unprecedented levels. Soon it became apparent that the island was sinking slowly into the ocean around them. Many of the humans died that day, but not before sacrificing themselves in order to stop the sinking of the island. The humans who lived through the catastrophe moved into the trees where they gradually died out, maybe because they were unequipped for such environment, but I'm not sure. This is a story the old man communicated to me, although many details are very unclear in my mind. I'm especially confused as to how the humans saved the island from completely sinking. In fact, I doubt the accuracy of that part in the story. The island must have stopped on its own, yet the old man believes the truth of the story, as if he had been there, and the tree dwellers worship him, apparently all humans, if they were heroes or gods. The old man had ended our conversation today with the event I will not forget. He began gripping my hands tightly and murmuring something about rest and sleep, and then he said, "We had expected you to come sooner." These actions filled me with a sort of immediate dread. With much effort, he stood to his feet. I tried to help, but he pushed me away with more force than I had imagined his frail body could tame. The tree dwellers quickly surrounded him with very solemn faces, then they kneeled before him. He walked to each and placed his hand on their heads. All the while he murmured words which I did not understand. Finally he turned to me and smiled. Then he closed his eyes and walked out the door and off the narrow path high into the tree. The tree dwellers were silent. They began a procession down to the nearest rope ladder. As I was descending, I saw several of them pick up the body. He had fallen onto a lower level of walkway and carry it away. He was laying down at the dead end of a short pier-like structure. With the use of some potion of one of the tree creatures lit the pier on fire and watched him as the flames engulfed him. As the strange funeral proceeded, the waters around the pier changed to dull green. This morning I awoke, finding it hard to even believe the previous evening's events. The water is a dull green for as far as I can see now. For some reason, the water no longer shifts color. As I wander through the pathways, the creatures watch me, curious to see what I will do next. They are constantly offering me strange objects of affection. I even found food outside the doorway in the room in which I had slept. This is a unique race of beings. I hope to learn their language soon so they may learn more from them. Now, I'm not entirely certain why the ink changes color in this one. The journals I think have some just random clues in them. I'm not entirely sure. I've lived on this world for 3 months off and on, and the Tree Dwellers have shown great hospitality. I am even beginning to learn bits of their language. I've decided to return home for extended stay with my loving wife and my sons, and hopefully return with them. However, I'm sure Catherine will once again refuse. I think this age would be a wonderful experience for them all, and I at least look forward to how Cirrus and Agonar react to the curious inhabitants. Catherine is staying behind as expected. My sons have returned with me, and they enjoy this age very much. They get along very well with the Tree Dwellers and picking up their language surprisingly fast. I have no doubt that it will not be too long until they could speak with the Tree Dwellers much better than myself. I'm leaving tomorrow to check on Osman age. Cirrus has suggested that I allow him and his brother to stay. Though the idea unsettles me, I know the boys are growing up rapidly. The hospitality of these creatures is such that I could think of no better place to leave them alone for a short while, so I will consent to their request. I warn the boys not to take advantage of the respect the Tree Dwellers have for their ideas. They seem to understand my warning, and I have faith that they will follow it. Much to my dismay, upon arriving in Everdunes, I learned that Pran and her people are continuing to be menaced by the... I have no idea what that word is. I fear for their survival and plan on returning to her shortly after checking on Cirrus and Agonar. See Everdunes journals for more information. After watching Cirrus and Agonar, I see they are handling things very well, and I think I can put to rest any fears about leaving them in Channelwood again, and for a little longer time. The Tree Dwellers seem slightly distressed that I'm leaving, but happy that Cirrus and Agonar are staying behind. I've been gone for over 3 days and have been in many different places. I had to tell Cirrus and Agonar about Pran's death today, and they were visibly shaken, although they only remembered her from their childhood. Catherine suggested that it would be wise for Cirrus and Agonar to leave Channelwood for a while, and I have to agree. They will be returning with me when I leave again. I have told my sons that they will be returning with me in 2 days. They have spent the entire night telling me of an adventure they experienced in my absence and was rather remarkable. It seems they constructed a boat with the creatures and traveled some ways out into the surrounding waters. I enjoy hearing them talk excitedly of their adventures and reminded of my own adventures as a child. I fully understand why the True Dwellers have been giving me their many inks and insisting I write with them. Okay, that explains it. Looking through some of my past entries, I see now that the inks have changed from the black. I thought that they were various different colors. I have shown some of the creatures my journal, and they laughed and howled. I did not know they had such a sense of humor. Even now, I look through the very colorful journal, and I can help but laugh myself. So that explains why the ink's a different color. The Tree Dwellers gave them different inks that changed from black to whatever. We will be returning tomorrow, so my sons are with the creatures for the last night here. They have told me they would like to come to Channelwood again and also ask that they can visit some other ages alone. Though I will have to think about their request, I believe they have proven that they are trustworthy and responsible. Catherine will also have to help me decide whether they are ready to travel alone. For now, I must give my farewells to the creatures, for I do not know how long it will be until I visit this age again. So, now we have a preliminary map of it. So I figure since we read the Channelwood Age, let's go to that one first. But first, we got to take care of a few things here. The books.
Bring me a red. I can't see it. Need a red light, you must. I beg to bring. I am serious.
So now we meet Cirrus. So unfortunately, didn't really get much of that, but we know that that's Cirrus, and we know that he needs the red pages, so we can only assume correctly that this is Agonar.
Serious? Who are you? See you. You know. Help me. Bring me blue pages. Never, never. Pages. I must have the blue page. Bring them to me.
Now, one thing I really like is the fact that those video files or the videos of Cirrus and Agonar are from the original Myst. They didn't change those. I believe that they changed up Atris's when you meet him later on, but they didn't change those original videos of Cirrus and Agonar. So I really enjoyed that aspect. So since we're gonna go to Channelwood, we know that the tree is obviously the key for it. So we're going to go ahead and rotate the tower, and then we notice here there's a little bit of a difference. We have bookshelf, and we have a painting of a pathway out of the bookshelf. So if we click on it, we have a hidden pathway. No, Andy, they do not. They never get old. Alright, so we're now in the tower. So if we go up this ladder, we can see the tree. Which, judging by the plaque, we know that that's where the book is. So now, if we go around to the other side, if I can move correctly, we have a key, which if we climb up, we have a code, 724. So, we know 724 is the code. So, alright, so let's go ahead and open up. And let's go check out this little cabin. And we see another depiction of the tree. And there's the safe. So the code was 724. And we have a box of matches. So we're going to light the pilot light. And one thing I do like is how they can you can click on something and it'll center the camera. And there we go. We're making the tree grow. Alright, so now that's at its maximum. We're gonna shut it off. And run up here. And we're gonna run in. And we have our first age. Channel wood. So we can see a little bit of the village that Atreus was talking about. So let's go. I think out of the ages of the original Myst, I think Channelwood has got to be one of my favorites. Just the sheer beauty of it. And you can see that they really added a lot of it. Like, you see a lot more foliage, a lot more stuff growing out, little lilies and things like that. So, definitely a lot more detailed. And we see a little spiral stairway over here. So we're going to follow the pipes up to this island that Atreus was talking about in his journal. And this will get us started. This age is also probably one of the more complex ones. Once you solve all the puzzles, it's pretty simple to come back here. So we see water being pumped into a giant holding tank. And we're going to go ahead and turn on the water to get it flowing down pipes. Once you solve all of the puzzles and everything in it, you only ever have to flick one switch, and it's this one switch right up here. So it's pretty straightforward. So we're gonna go ahead and let the water run down this way because we don't need to go over to the spiral staircase just yet. And we're going to come up to this next junction, and I want it to go this way. This was such a pain in the original Myst because of the screenshot by screenshot. It was hard to tell which way you're going, so you had to go down one pathway and figure out which way the water was going. So we're going to go ahead and... Oop. Come on. There we go. I'm going to switch it over here. And we're going to go up to the second floor. And now we are on the second floor of Channelwood, up in the village. Like, as you can see, there's a lot of details. And as you can see over here, there is a third floor. So this place is really falling apart. Now, if you remember from the map, there was a dotted line connecting one of the huts to another. And it wasn't the future bridge one, there was just an actual dotted line. And that's basically your hint, which if you come over here, I believe... Oh yeah, this is it right here. We throw that switch and we notice that the door just opened. Now there's an elevator that's over there that will take us up to the third floor, but we have to go back downstairs to the ocean floor and redirect the water in order to get that elevator working. Fortunately, that's an easy fix. So, not really much to explore here on the second floor. The little huts don't really have much in them, just a few little odds and ends. You can kind of get an idea of. I mean, this is obviously a very primitive village, so I do like how they did a lot more with the floors and everything, showing a lot more decay. I mean, there's a lot of boards missing, things like that. Those weren't that wasn't in even RealMyst. So, all right. So now we're gonna go back down the spiral staircase. This was such a pain in the original Myst because you just click, 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 click. It was so boring. Come on. Keep getting hung up on the wall. Alright, so now that that door's open, and all we gotta do is just go over here to this first switch, and we're gonna flick it over here, and that will power the second floor elevator up to the third floor. So we're gonna climb back up. And to the third floor. Now we'll start getting a little bit of some ideas about Cirrus and Agonar. So we're going to go over this way first. And the wind is really blowing up here. So this is Cirrus's room. So you can tell he likes modern. And we have the red page. So let's do a little bit more exploring here. A lot of wine bottles. And a knife. That's always a good sign. Ooh. So this will come into play later. Some cheese. So we got what we came for. We have the page. Since we're here, we'll go ahead and take a look at Agonar's stuff. But I'm not going to get the page until the return trip. So, which, like I said earlier, I will be taking 2 trips through each age because I want to complete this as much as possible. So I will be getting every page, which will constitute 2 trips. Some of them are pretty short, some of them are long. The Salentic age will take a while, but all right. Okay. So this must have been the ritual room that Atris had talked about in his journal that was changed. And that kind of harks back a little bit to what was it? Prince of Persia, for some reason. So we have go out the back way. So there was a gate here that did absolutely nothing. Yeah, this gate originally moved back and forth, but didn't do anything. So, as we can see, Agonar operates a little bit differently than his brother. He likes more primitive stuff. See, there's the blue page, which, like I said, we're going to come back for that later. And what is this? So that was obviously the video that was playing in the other one. So let's watch some of the other ones. Now, we really have no idea what he's saying. And we never will really know what he's saying. But we know that he's speaking the tree native's tongue.
I hope I pushed the right button. Very interesting device, dear brother. I'm not erasing anything important, am I? He is preparing. Remember, take only one page.
Alright, so we have a video message from Cirrus to Agonar talking about taking a page. Alright, so we're pretty much done here for now. Like I said, we are going to come back and get that blue page, because we can only carry one at a time, so... Yeah, I knew he wasn't speaking. I knew he wasn't speaking Dunny. It was like I said, based on the brothers' mindset that they considered themselves gods. I mean, it was obvious that he was basically he was speaking in the native language to basically try and control them. Alright, so now we're back down here, so we're going to do some more pipe manipulation. Come on. We're going to switch back over this way. So I guess they took out some aspects, because it used to be you would be able to... there's day and night cycles in this game, and it used to be in all of them, but I've been here for quite a while. It should start getting dark soon. Yeah, the talking the gibberish, that was Agonar. The fourth one was Cirrus. So we're gonna go ahead and flip this way. And now that I think about it, this makes sense why this is all destroyed. Because he talks about how they burned the pier with the old man, so that makes sense now. Well, the funny part about that, Andy, is Catherine's name is not actually Catherine. It's actually Katrine. Atris kept mispronouncing it, and she finally got sick of correcting him, so... Alright, so we have our extendo bridge. No, actually, I spoke too soon, because it looks like you can kind of tell it's starting to get dark. So maybe I was wrong. Yeah, they added actually day and night cycles, and they also added weather patterns. You can come into an area where it's raining uh, or snowing, things like that. Alright, so we're going to extend that pipe. Then we're going to go back around and loop the water back over here. Have you read the books at all? Oh, okay, yeah, it's... Yeah, I reread them fairly recently. I actually still have a hardcover copy of the Book of Tiana and the Book of Dunny. Unfortunately, I don't have the Book of Atris anymore. I had a paperback copy that got destroyed. Thank you, Nate. But I've been wanting to actually buy a hardcover copy of it, but they're hard to come by. They're not in... The books aren't in active production anymore individually. You have to buy the reader that has all three of them nowadays. So, was it horrible, Sauce? Alright, so that was actually the wrong way. I'm just messing with you. You were young and stupid. Now you're not young anymore. Alright, so... we need to go... Ah! Yeah, like I said, yeah, I have... Same here. Same with me. Alright, so I think we actually have the right... Oh, not quite. I'm just messing with you, Nate. I don't hold it against you. Alright, so now we have the pipes all correct, so we can get out of here. And yeah, it's definitely starting to get dusk. Yeah, sun's starting to set. So I was wrong about the day-night cycle thing not existing here. So yeah, the Book of Atris is basically the prequel to this game, and like I said earlier, that opening monologue that Atris talks about when you see him falling is the actual ending to the book. It's exactly word for word. So that's part of the reason why I have that monologue memorized verbatim, and I've had it memorized ever since I was a kid. It's like I still remember it to this day. I mean, I've always fantasized about being able to do this, being able to write your own world into a book and be able to actually go to it. So, I mean, I think this, honestly think now looking back at it, I think this series kind of inspired a lot of my why I write so much. I mean, I've always had a really creative mind ever since I was a little kid. I've always had an overactive imagination, but actually writing, I think this series itself, I think, inspired a lot of that. So we have the Myst book, which gets us back to Myst. So that's one trip through Channelwood done. I'm gonna go back and get the blue page, but fortunately, it shouldn't take too long. All I got to do is just get up to the third floor, get the blue page, go back down to the first floor, flick one switch, and be done with it. So we're gonna go ahead and throw the red page in and talk a little bit more with Cirrus.
You've returned. Thank you for bringing the red page. You must continue. My name is Cirrus. I beg you to find the remaining red pages. You must read. this time, look. Don't touch me. My brother is guilty. And I wrongfully imprisoned. Bring the red page to me.
So, we get a little bit revealed there. We obviously know that that's Sirius, and he talks about how his brother's guilty of what we don't really know yet. And he claims that he's been wrongfully imprisoned in the book. So, let's go back to Channelwood and get the blue page and see what check Agonar's side of it. One nice thing about the original one is you just had to individually click to rotate it, so it took you a while to open it up all the way. Now it's just like, we done. Now you can, if you want, you can when you get down, there's a gas valve that you can run in and or turn up so you can get out of here, and you can actually ride it all the way to the top, and you just click this button and it will drop you down to ground level. So I'm gonna go back into Channelwood. Alright, so there's two other pieces of Myst-related stuff that I really want to get that I used to own that I don't anymore, and they were the Prima strategy guides for Myst and Riven. The main reason why I want them is I loved how they were written. They were basically two guides in one. There was a secondary, just like your traditional strategy guide, telling you to do this, do this, do this, do this, but the primary parts of the guides were written as a journal. By a character playing through, basically playing the role of what is now officially titled the Stranger, which is who basically you're playing as. The game was written to where you're basically playing as yourself. I mean, there's no defining features about people's interactions with you or anything like that. So you can, I mean, there's no male or female connotations. They always refer to you as like their friend or whatnot. So the game was designed to where anybody could play it and feel immersed in it. And so the guys at Prima, when they were writing the strategy guides for Myst and Riven, took it that extra step and wrote a journal of basically as the Stranger exploring Myst and his thoughts and things like that. And they would show screenshots. They basically explained it that he's a photographer, and he was in a library looking for books on photography, and he comes across the Myst book, and he ends up getting drawn into it. So the screenshots that they talk about that he shows in the journal are what he describes as he takes photographs. He takes instant photographs. So it was really kind of interesting because you're reading it as an actual story. So that was one aspect I really enjoyed about that, and I would like to eventually get those again if once I have if I could ever find them. Because I remember just reading them for fun. I remember I was on a bus trip to I think it was over here to Denver when I was a kid, uh, when I was a teenager or something like that. I don't even remember how long ago it was, and I brought those along to read, and that's what I read because it wasn't just I was learning about a game. I was reading someone's story, so I really enjoyed that. All right, so we got the blue page, so all we got to do now is just get back down, flick that one switch again, and be gone. And we're done with Channelwood. And we can move on to the next one. Actually, that was Mist 4. Yeah, Mist 4. Mist 4 you had the camera. Mist 3 you didn't. Yeah. I remember watching Andy play through 4. Yeah, 4 was a pretty big deviation from the original formula. They had updated, they changed some stuff to where like they didn't use the traditional hand. It was different. It had the full. It also had the full 3D, but 3 was kind of a transition between the two of them. It had the full 3D look around and whatnot, but it was still screenshot by screenshot. That's nice sauce. All right, so all right, we are out of here. All right, so we'll go ahead and throw the blue page in here and talk to Captain Crazy Pants.
You returned. You wouldn't return. Ages to rescue me. I'm Akinar. My brother, I beg you. To be complete. Always blue pages. Listen to him. Not listen to my brother.
Now the funny part is originally in the original game when I played it as a kid, for some reason the blue book would not work.
Don't bring the red ones. Implore you. I've been wrongfully imprisoned. You must leave. I will have my retribution. Please bring me the blue pages. Pages, please.
So he talks about retribution. Interesting. So, like I was saying earlier, in the original copy of Myst that I had, for some reason the blue book never worked. System game would crash, wouldn't lock up. So I only ever did the red one. So very rarely, it's been a long time since I've actually gone through the red, gone through Agonar's book pages and whatnot, and listened to him. Yeah, I think it was that old Acer. All right, so we're done with Channelwood. So let's take a look at the next journal. Emmett was the first to live on the rocks. He named them the rocks because that's what they were, a group of sharp rocks clustered together in the middle of a large sea. This is where Emmett lived. He enjoyed his life. Emmett would occasionally swim to nearby rocks, as it was never too far in the distance. One day another person appeared on the rocks for no apparent reason to Emmett. Emmett named this new person Branch. Emmett and Branch quickly became friends, swimming and hunting for fish together again. Emmett showed Branch the simple cave in which he lived on the largest rock. Soon Branch discovered a place where he decided to live, also in the same large rock. The sun always shone brightly on their world, and the water was always dazzlingly clear, allowing them to see almost the deep ocean floor which surrounded them. Though the sun always shone, it was never too hot for the boys. A light breeze always came from the north and cooled the area down. One day, Branch was swimming and having fun in the water. He noticed another boy swimming. Branch brought the new boy to Emmett to find out what to call the new boy. Emmett said this boy should be called Will. Will was soon part of the group, and all three of the boys swam and enjoyed their perfect world. At least that is the story I was told when I arrived today on the island. Emmett, Branch, and Will were surprised to see me at first, but even before the night ended, we were all becoming good friends. Today is the second day on this newly created age. A strange thing happened. It was not strange to me, but the three boys did not understand what was happening. While I was relaxing under a large tree on one of the smaller rock islands, it began to rain. It was a nice rain that lasted for about an hour in the morning. I explained to the boys the rain was not harmful, yet they obviously still feared it. Before going to sleep tonight, I told the boys I would leave the following day. I told them that while I was gone, I would make a surprising change to their world. They didn't understand, not that I expected them to. I still do not fully understand what happened today. As I was experimenting with the art, testing the limits of the rules as dictated to me by Father, I attempted to create a boat by riding it into the world. I thought everything was planned correctly, yet somehow the boat had become gripped by the rock and broken in half. Though this test went as I had hoped, I now have answers to a few of the questions my father never answered. As for the boat, I can see the boys enjoying it anyway, and with that I am pleased. They have played on it all day. Even though the boat cannot move, I have enjoyed studying from it. It is a much sturdier platform than the jagged rocks. In the course of my observations, I have learned some very interesting things regarding the solar system of this age. The nights are absolutely beautiful here. I've made note and named a number of constellations that pass above me. Also, during the night, I catch glimmers of light from the horizon, which I have not been able to discover if it is created by some natural phenomenon or by additional people on far-off islands or rocks. I should very much like to discover that. I rather suspect it is additional people, which would explain the appearance of Branch and Will. The rain today was slightly heavier than usual. Just when the boys were getting used to the light rains, a small storm arrived. They were frightened by the heavy rain, not to mention the thunder and lightning. If rain has never fallen here until recently, as the boys told me, I would like to discover why it is falling now. Regardless, I have decided to return home for a short while. I've also been thinking of some plans for a lighthouse that I hope to construct soon. I think that perhaps by shining a bright light toward the horizon, it may provide my suspicions regarding additional inhabitants. They will be curious about the light and travel to discover its source, if they have the means. I return with many tools that I will need for the construction of the lighthouse. I have decided that once the lighthouse is complete, I will leave for some time and let the world's own imagination have control. We have worked 3 weeks on the lighthouse now and are making great progress. The rock that we are building on seems not to be as secure as I would like. I have had to alter my plans slightly, but those alterations pose no real problem. The boys are quite strong and have been helping me immensely. I estimate construction will be done within 2 days. Created by some... The lighthouse is finished and we are all proud of our creation. The boys are amazed at the structure wrought from rock with their own hands. That evening we powered up the generator, much to the boys' dread at first, and shined a great light to the horizon for many hours. I stayed the night at the top of the lighthouse, and in the morning awoke to observe the sunrise without being coated with the chilly blanket of ocean dew I've become accustomed to. It was Will who first saw the girl. She was swimming not far from the boat where Will was getting ready to hunt for fish. Then Will noticed a man not far away from the girl, and was very pleased to meet the additional neighbors. I feel pleased to leave this age. I have set in motion events that have nothing to do with writing or the art that will have more profound impact on this world than I could have ever written. I think of this age as a gift to myself that I will wrap up and open someday in the future, only to discover it has changed so much that it indeed is a surprise. Besides, I have yet another new age that awaits me. It seems I'm going to need some way to travel underwater in this new age, and so much planning is in order. It has been 10 years since I left this age, which I have since called the Stone Ship Age. Upon returning, I cannot believe the changes that have taken place. The original 3 boys have grown into adults, and there are many new faces that I do not recognize. Branch told me that it has not rained for 7 years, and the cool breezes are back again. They are all very content and have been serving me with new foods and showing me new materials they have discovered. It seems they have found gold somewhere. I see it in many forms around the island. My lighthouse has kept a perfect condition and it looks as they have tried the very best to keep it so, yet I have noted that the entire rock was built on a suck approximately 40 or 50 centimeters. After a wonderful visit with my old friends, I wonder aloud with them what things will be like here in another 10 years. So we obviously see a map of the Stone Ship Age, and now we have a list of constellations. So, as we can go outside and see, it is nearly dusk. Alright, so an age-like stone ship is obviously going to be a ship. So we're going to go ahead and rotate the tower, go up into it, and get the clue. Alright, so we see the ship. Oh, no, you go back there. I need to look at that. I need a notepad really quick. October 11th, 1984, which was the year that I was born. 10:04 a.m. January 17th, 12:07 at 5:46 a.m. and November 23rd, 9791 at 6:57 p.m. So, all right. So we're gonna go. All right. So let's go ahead and. Oh. Time to go stargazing. So first we have is October 11th, 1984. At 10:04 a.m. Okay, that was interesting. Not entirely sure that was supposed to happen there. Alright, January 17th. (12:07) at 5:46 a.m. And we have the next constellation. November 23rd, 9791. At 6:57 p.m. Alright, so now that we've found those three constellations, it's getting dark. So now we're going to go back to the journal, and we see we have the leaf, the beetle, and the snake. Now, go out here and we see those. So we're going to do leaf, beetle, and snake. And we can see that raising, and we can see off in the background the ship has been raised. And we are now on to the stone ship age. So we can see the lighthouse. So let's go. And I don't need that anymore. Alright, so it's raining, obviously. Pretty heavily. Okay, so that is that one. Okay, so we need actually the right one first. Because we need to drain the water out of the lighthouse. So we go into the lighthouse, and now we can get down. So we have a key on a chain. And there's a chest down here. I'm going to go ahead, open the spigot. Let all the water drain out of the chest, and we're going to close it, now making the chest full of air and buoyant. So, I really hate climbing up spiral stairs in this game. It's kind of annoying. There we go. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of the original soundtrack. I actually have... I have all the soundtracks, I think, except... Actually, no, I think I even have 5, even though I've never played it. I think probably my favorite was Near Island from Myst 4, when you're on Spire. It's just a really kind of... It's kind of a relaxing but creepy kind of sound, kind of music. It's really... It's hard to explain, but it's definitely one of my favorites. So the chest is here, so we're going to go ahead and use this key on a chain to unlock it. And, yo dog, I heard you like keys in your chest, so I heard you like keys, so I put a key in a locked chest. So now we can go up into the lighthouse, and we have a generator. It was really annoying in the original one because you had to stop and you had to look at the batteries to see what your charge was at. Alright, so we are now at a full charge in the lighthouse. And if you remember, in the journal, they just talked that there was a light at the top. So there's the light. Now that actually comes into play here shortly. There was also a concept drawing for an underwater lamp. So we're going to climb up here to the top. As you can see, we have different degrees up here. And we see that the light is at 135 degrees. So that comes into play. Yeah, it was fully rendered instead of being like the original ones. Ubisoft really kind of pushed it. So, and it was very directly connected with Uru. And Uru was a big deviation from it as well. I've only played a little bit of Uru, mainly because it has its struggles on my computer. So we're going to come back to that later. Let's see here. So I guess we'll start in Agonar's room because that's where we are. So interesting decor, using a rib cage for a lamp. Used to be you could flick it all the way to the right and it would start from the rose and morph to the skull. So got a bunch of maps and whatnot here. And look at what we have here. So basically the two torn pages tell us of a vault on Myst and how to unlock it. So we're gonna go ahead and grab the blue page since we're here, and we're gonna go back to this that I was talking about earlier. There's a little hidden area between the two pathways. And we can see this place is a lot more lit up than it used to be. It used to be really dark in here. So we went at 135 degrees, which is right here, which turns on the lamp. Now, if you get it wrong, the generator in the lighthouse would shut off, and there'd be like an alarm going off, and these lights would be red, blinking red, and it's just annoying. All right, so we're gonna go back up, and we're gonna go ahead and drain. We're going to go ahead and drain down that pathway. So now you can see lights down there. So it doesn't just the generator doesn't just charge that; it also charges the lights around the island. Yeah, I do like how. And now we can see everything's lit down here. We can actually see. Yeah, I already know about that. So, and we get a really weird little effect with the Myst book morphing out of the table. All right, so we're back on Myst. So let's go ahead and give Captain Crazy Pants his blue page. See what he has to say.
Ah, good. Still more blue pages, you bastard. Bring more. I must have some more.
I have to give Rand Miller a lot of credit. He did a really good job.
It's so long since my brother Cirrus wrongfully imprisoned me within his book. Stupid schemes. Pretty speech. Greed which is endless. perfectly obvious to you.
Yeah?
He's done evil and he has destroyed all before. Do not bring the red pages to him. You must not let him trick you. He believed you. He tricked our father. Hideously murdered our father. He'll trick you. He'll murder you. Don't touch the red pages. I beg you to bring the blue pages to me. Listen, you must obey me.
Kind of hard for me to obey you when you're in a
Pages
book.
are my only hope. You must help me. You must help me.
Okay. So, as we apparently know it now, Sirius is responsible for Agonar's imprisonment, supposedly. He's supposedly responsible for the grisly murder of Atris, again, supposedly. And we apparently have to obey him even though he's in a book. Alright, time to go back to Stone Ship and go get the red page and see what Sirius has to say. Fortunately, this is a fairly quick trip. Alright. Generator's still lit, so... I was kind of expecting to have to, because in the original game, if you had to come back, it resets everything, so you have to charge the generator again. So let's check out Sirius's room. And like I said, he definitely likes it really decadent. Lots of very expensive stuff. And the red page. Okay. We know that he has a bit of a drug habit. So we got one guy that's a greedy addict, and we have one guy that's certifiable. Interesting family. Oh, cool. The lights are still on, so we didn't even need to come here. All we had to do was just run in and out. So let's go ahead and get out of here then. Like I said, I was expecting to have to charge the generator and then reset the compass, but didn't have to do either of those. All I gotta do is just redrain this, and we are out of here. Sure, he does. And there's the book. And we are out of here. So we are now officially done with Stone Ship, so we're halfway done. We've got 2 ages down, 2 more to go. So let's go see what he has to say.
Have returned. Additional page. this forgotten island of Mist. I see that you are. I am called Sirius.
Really, Nate?
Need are the red pages.
Really?
I know. Must search and bring two more for the red pages. I am released, I promise. Don't touch the blue pages. That is where my mind is. For my wicked brother, Acheron. He is a man of distorted mind and senses. He disgusts me. Do not release Acheron. Thirst for destruction is not never ending. Bring the red paper. May you please release me from this prison. Promise you will be greatly rewarded. Must help me. Help me.
So, he didn't really reveal anything that we don't already know. Alright, so let's go to the next journal. It has been a while since I've heard only silence, and I enjoy it greatly, I think. For some reason, I do not feel altogether welcome in this new world which I have arrived, but how could I be unwelcome in an age with no inhabitants? It is, of course, only in my head. This world is very beautiful, but I think I have yet to ever write in a journal that an age I have linked to as horrid or disgusting. From the grassy hill where I am standing, I can see green field below, very few scattered forests. A rather large lake looms some distance from where I am standing, yet the water's blue can be seen plainly from here. The air is fresh and the sky is sparkle with white clouds. It is absolutely breathtaking, and yet that strange feeling again. Perhaps it's the hot breeze that continues to blow from the north, hotter than I would have imagined. It almost singes my skin. I feel quite uncomfortable with it. When it comes, I will try to ignore it. Night is almost arriving and the sunset is spectacular. Orange and reds have settled above the western horizon. The night has come, the horizon still glows red long past sunset. Dark red flows on the horizon and blends into the black sky. Again the feeling, and I am beginning to believe it is not all in my mind. I must sleep now. I will need my strength to explore more tomorrow. I have had to return home due to an unpredictable natural occurrence that more frightening than I had ever experienced. I was awakened by terrible shaking in the ground and explosions on all sides of me. Gigantic balls of fire were falling from the sky, and I immediately left in fear of my life. I must remember to bring a mislinking book with me when I return, in case the one left here has been destroyed or damaged. I've returned to a different world than is one I left only 3 months ago. It has been transformed into a barren desert, and with only gigantic craters scattered across the land to provide variety. Strangely enough, the small grassy hill where I spent my first night remains exactly the way I found it. Apparently the falling meteors did not hit this area, leaving an oasis in the midst of the horrible desolation. The hot wind I remember has turned into a rather pleasant breeze, which I at least one improvement I fear is the only improvement. The magnificent lake I saw on my first visit is now completely dried up. However, another lake now exists and appears to be quite a bit larger. I assume one of the falling meteors created this lake due to its circular shape and the jutting rocks that grew out of the center of this lake. The rest of this world seems like desert, although I will verify that statement with closer inspection. This world has little visual excitement to offer. It offers much to the ear. Sounds constantly flow through my ears, and I have found where few of them originate. It seems, as Catherine says, I do find beauty in everything. Last night I was awakened by a horrible hissing. I was sweating, and the heat was so intense that I immediately dipped my head into a nearby stream to cool it down. The hot breezes had returned along with a low roar from the ground. I walked a short distance to observe some red flames shooting up from the earth. Suddenly the ground began to crack, and a huge chasm opened. The chasm continued to grow until it was far too wide to cross. Then the tumult subsided, leaving only a dull roar. I have decided, however, I can use this chasm to my advantage. Perhaps the heat from the chasm can be harnessed. Even though the chasm has ripped into the surface of this world, it has opened up a whole new world to explore. Although uncomfortably hot, I have found it possible to reach a cave in the chasm that had been created, and now to explore deep into the crust of this planet. I have found a vast underground cave system that will take many years to map and explore. I will also look for a safer way to reach the underground than through the chasm wall. This age seemed to change on its own, so I feel I should leave it again and see if things are different when I return. It would also be important that I check in on Sirius and Agonar, make sure everything is going along well. When I return, I hope to bring back some I will need for my plans to explore the underground. The abundance of raw materials is beginning to amaze me. I have returned with some of the complete complex tools I knew I would be needing. I assumed I would return for more basic materials, however, it seems as though I will be able to find everything I need here. Of course, iron is abundant, but I have also found titanium occurring naturally. I am all the more excited to begin work. Everything is set and I look forward to tomorrow. My raw materials are all here. I think I will be able to have most of my additions to this age completed within 1 year. I also love working with my hands, whether writing or building. So, unfortunately, most of the ink has disappeared. I'm leaving today in order to bring back Cirrus and Aganar. I've left them alone in Cheddlewood. I believe they will enjoy all there is to see here. The age seems to have stabilized. I believe the meteor set off a period of volcanic activity by piercing into the shallow crust, but the tremors have become few. I've just noticed a large amount of this journal has curiously vanished from the very pages which I wrote over the last 18 months. Fortunately, I've copied many of my construction notes into another journal. I don't understand the many mysteries of this world, but I trust I will discover logical answers to my questions. I have a feeling that many of my questions can be answered in another age, which I hope to travel soon. But for now, I must simply accept this world's mysteries and take pride in my accomplishments. So we see a piano, and we see a map of the age. So I need my notepad again. Now this puzzle annoys the crap out of me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the fifth white key. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The 12th white key. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10th black key. 6, 7, 8. The 8th white key. And then the 3rd black key. All right, so we saw the starship as being in that journal, so we know that that's got to be it. So we're gonna go ahead and rotate the tower to the ship, and let's go up into the tower. And we can see the ship, so let's see what the code is. The key is 59 volts. So let's go ahead and get out of here, and we're going to go ahead and go ahead and check out this building. And we see here we have power and power to ship. So let's go ahead and figure out the solution right now. Okay, so we had 10. Look down. 10, 1, 7, 2, 8, 22, 16, 19, 5. I still need to reset the breakers, but I'm trying to figure out the solution. I'm having a brain fart. It was 47 volts or 57. I think it was 57 volts, wasn't it? So yeah, so I tripped the breaker, so I gotta... There we go. Okay, so was it 57 volts or... It was 57 volts was the correct... Okay. 10... 1... 7, 2... 8... 22... 16... 19... 5... and 9. Alright, so... Let's pull up a calculator here really quick. 22 plus 19 plus 16. I think that was it. I think it was just those three. Only one way to find out. Funny part is I seriously thought it was a little bit more complicated than that. Because I somewhat remember you had to throw, I think, like 5. Well, we will see here in a second, because... Nope, that wasn't it. Maybe it was... Was it 59 volts? Yeah, I think it was 50, I think it might be 59 volts. So, I think I just need to flick the 2-volt generator. There we go. All right. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself so you don't have to hear my cracking voice when I try and do this puzzle. So. I know it's the third and the fourth notes that are off. So I know I've got the first, the second, and the fifth notes right, but it's those third and the fourth ones that I know that are off. So. There we go. Hate that puzzle with a passion. Alright, on to the Salenta gauge. Now this age I used to despise as a kid, both getting into it and getting out of it. Alright, so let's go check this place out. Very lovely looking skyline. The cloud's a nice touch. I like the puzzles in the age, but at the same, I mean, it's kind of a pain in the ass too. So we have our first sound, and hey, there's the blue page, so we'll go ahead and grab that. Let's go ahead and flick on. This is what I like to call the Oasis. I like the falling leaves are a nice touch. And here's the chasm that he spoke of in the journal. So we'll flick that on. The clock tower. Now, a little bit of trivia here. The gong sound, I was watching an interview in the original Myst. There was a behind-the-scenes file that they added in where they interviewed Rand and Robin and a couple other people that were involved in the creation of Myst, and they interviewed one of the sound effect guy, and he talked about a lot of the different sound effects that he did, and the clock tower was one of them. And he talked about what they did to make that sound is they took a wrench, I think it was like a 3/8 wrench or something like that, tied a piece of string to it and hung it, and then hit it with another one, and then they pitched it down. So I thought that was really kind of cool. Here's the rocky outcrops that there was talk of. I like to call this the Stone Forest. And there's the red page, so we know where that is now. So as you could probably tell from Atris's journal, this age is based on sounds. Sounds is a very key element in this age. And then last but not least, we have the wind tunnel with bats. So I've been flicking on these switches, which actually turns on the little broadcaster. More bats. And now we're in the little center island. Come on, there we go. Alright, so now we have to find each of these broadcasts. I didn't want to do that. I keep hearing the water sound. It's throwing me off because it's the there we go. It's the sound of the waves that was throwing me off. Yeah, I guess I changed it up because it used to be you had to lock on it perfectly, and the little arrows would flash. But I guess that's really all we need is just get close. Alright, so now that we have all 5 sounds locked in, and we have our code. Now for part 2. Of why this age was such a pain, and why going through this age the second time is just going to take a little bit. So, we're going to go back up. That is actually really cool. I like that. Just those two giant clouds, the sun setting behind them. All right, then we go over here. There we go. And this gets us into this little room, which brings us... Now, I guess technically the best way to do this is actually to do the mechanical age first, because it gives you the clue that you're going to need to be able to navigate this maze, but it's pretty straightforward once you figure it out. But I remember I hated this. Also, another little bit of trivia: this maze runner was actually one of the designers actually designed this thing based off of Flounder when he was watching Little Mermaid with his daughter. So another little bit of trivia for you. So we're gonna go ahead and descend into the maze. Now, as you can see by the compass kind of tells you that you're going to go all 8 directions, not just north, south, east, and west. Alright, so that sound effect is supposed to tell you which way to go. Now, that little ding stands for north, and I'll show you when I go to the mechanical age how you're supposed to determine that, but I already know this, so. That click, nope, that's west. I always miss, there's a click and a hiss. I always get those two mixed up. So the click is west. Got to remember that. The hiss is east. So that's north. I really like this age, but I hated this part when I was a kid because I couldn't figure it out. All right, that's the hiss, so that's east. I remember watching Adam, our older brother, have to literally map this out because he didn't realize about the audio cue, which it makes sense now because, like I said, this whole age is based off of audio cues. Everything is about sound. Okay, so... Oh. Actually, no, that was right. So, that little clang, that is south, so... So the click was west. Now the beauty part is if you ever get lost, you can click the backtrack button and it'll take you back to the last correct place you were at. Alright, so now there we have a double. You can hear the clang and the click, so we know that means we have to go southwest. It's like the roller coaster from hell. So now we're gonna go west. Okay, so we have the ding and the click, so we go northwest. So you can definitely tell, even in the original, they enjoyed creating different rides for you to go on, because you have this, you have the trams in Riven, you have Andy's favorite part, the bubble in Amateria in Exile. So that is northeast. North. And you can know that if you went a wrong way is if there's no audio cue. So you'll know right off the bat the wrong way. So that is... Should be getting... Oh, yep, that's it. We're out. I knew we were getting close. All right. And there's the Myst book, so we're out of here. Alright, time for page 3 of Captain Crazy Pants. See what he has to say.
Oh, my friend. Bring in the blue pages. I see. Convinced the Cirrus is guilty. Pray, do not release him. He will destroy me, just as he did. The innocent bystander. I've been wrongfully tricked into imprisonment. You have observed his unbridled lust for riches. In the 4 remaining worlds, gruesome plot. It was almost perfect. Final blow to father. You tricked him into believing that it was I who was the murderer. I didn't murder father. Bring me the remaining. Please. A liar. Full in a liar. Must not be free. Or they will... The remaining blue pages from the last age of Myst. I must be free. You must free me. I cannot bear it here for eternity. Free me.
Okay. All right, on to. It's going to go back to Salentic and get the red page. So, actually, getting the page is pretty quick, but we have to go back through that maze again. So, this one's generally the longest to do a repeat trip. Yes and no. I mean, I can get used to them. I mean, it's I don't really have anything like positive or negative, so I'm kind of indifferent when it comes to the new books. I don't necessarily mind them, so it's not a big deal for me. So we're gonna go back to the stone forest to get the red page, and then we're going to take the maze runner back out. Now, fortunately, the last age, the mechanical age, that one is the quickest to do the repeat trip. You just go in, grab the page, and leave. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. There's no puzzles to solve. So. All right, another turn in the maze. Funny part is I think the door is still open because I didn't hear it close, and I didn't have to open it when I got here.